Hey everyone, so this video I'm going to show you how to install the support brace for the 746 phone version 2. So this is the version of the phone that has your switch plate here, the switches, and then the battery hole here. This one's missing the label, but this is the phone that it's referring to. So the reason why you might want to do this is because the 746 phones, they're longer than most, and so when I design these, I print them out of a material that has some bend to it, and that's so that when things hit it, it doesn't just crack automatically. And then I just start with the basic design of the switch plate and the battery, and then I kind of expand from there to fit the phone, and so that everything kind of works with the body. So the issue is with the 746 ones, since they're so much longer than the other ones, that length plus the flexible, kind of bendable material here creates these two lines here where the base can flex a little bit too much. And so on certain phones, this one doesn't actually have the issue, but other ones do, where if you were to push the base, you can actually hear the trigger clicking inside of the phone. And so if it's on the table and someone pushes down on it, or even if just shaking it around sometimes triggers the phone to think that it's being picked up. Obviously, no one wants that. So this is correcting that until I can get around to making a thicker design base plate. But this is what you will receive from me. Looks like this. It might be a different color, might be brown, might be some other color, whatever is on hand. But this is a stiffer material that will give rigidity lengthwise to the phone base, but also keep the more flexible nature of this material so that it still won't crack if it's dropped or hit or anything like that. So this will go through the process of installing that. So first thing we want to do is simply take a Phillips screwdriver. You'll need this, and you might need a pair of scissors. What works best are wire cutters, but any kind of small scissors could work. So anyway, first go ahead and remove the 4 rubber feet here, each corner. Okay. I'm not going to speed any of this up, this will all be real time, so you can kind of work along with me. If you're faster than me, then sorry, you'll just have to wait till I get to where you are. Okay, so 4 feet are off, go ahead and flip it over carefully and just remove the plate. There's nothing that keeps this attached to the base, so go ahead and when this is removed, just put it off to the side somewhere. Okay. So here's what we're looking at. You can see already, even when I picked it up, you can see that it bends quite a bit just from where the main circuit board attaches to the battery, and then here between the weight and the actual battery compartment there, there's quite a bit of flex going on there. And so again, this is good because this material is very heat resistant, so it can sit out in the sun and not melt. And it's bendable so that, if someone whacks it, it's not going to crack. But since this is so long, it kind of creates this kind of bendability that is a little bit too much for this phone. So that's what we're going to correct here. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to remove 6 screws, these 2 silver ones, these 2 black ones, and these 2 black ones in the corners here. I want you to pay special attention to this one here. You'd be very careful not to knock this switch off, okay? If that gets knocked off, then this trigger will not work and it'll have to be something for repair. Okay, so first thing we want to do is kind of get this wire out of our way. And so to do that, we're just going to kind of lift this straight up and out. You can kind of just pull it away and off to the side there. Now, on this phone, it only goes through this front loop here. On some phones, I did put it through this back one in a way from the top through the bottom. If that's the case, the wires will have to be removed from there so it can do this. So to do that, you'll want to cut this open. And so, as I mentioned, what's best is using a set of these kind of wire cutters, but any kind of small scissors would work. And what you want to do is just kind of push the wires off to either side of it, kind of slip these in and just cut it like that. Now you can cut both sides if you want, or you can cut the one. I just cut the one, and then since this is bendable, you can kind of just bend it, take the wires out. And then you can actually either break this off, because it'll just kind of break easily, or just cut the rest of it off. Either way, it's better to remove it just so it's not in the way, and it doesn't, you know, look bad or anything like that. Not that anyone's going to see this side of it, but yeah, you don't need it. It can be covered up anyway. So getting this out of the way will help this work go much more easily. So, okay, so first thing we're going to do is remove these two silver screws. These just kind of help keep this in place. This is also glued, but these screws just kind of add a little bit of extra security on it. So go ahead and we'll remove those. Okay. So these two we're not going to reuse. So either throw them away or save them for some other project. Always good to have extra screws around. We're not going to use those anymore. Okay, now we're going to remove these two black screws here and these two black screws here. These are all the same screw, and we're going to reuse two of them. Okay, so there's one. Okay, there's two. And then those two screws will loosen and allow you to move that around. There's three. Again, this one, since it's kind of nudged in there, it's better just to, if you don't have a magnetic screwdriver like this one, it's better just to kind of tip it over and dump it out. And then this fourth one here in this corner. Okay. Okay. So that one doesn't want to come out, so just kind of dump it there. It goes. Okay. So now, what you'll have received from me is this support brace here. Okay, and you'll see there's two screw holes here, two here, one here, and one here. Okay, you'll get this, and you'll get 5 of these black or silver 6mm screws. So what we're going to use for this, we're going to use 4 of these and 2 of these. These are 4mm, okay, and 6mm. Okay, so first what we're going to do is use these small ones. We're going to put our brace into place here, and we're going to reattach our trigger here. So if you remember, this trigger was sitting here right on top of the battery compartment. It's still going to go there, but removing it helps get this into place a little more easily. And what will happen is this is going to sit here between the battery case and this piece here. You can see there's a little notch I have cut out there. It's going to sit right inside of there, okay? So just kind of gently move this way. You don't want to put tension on this or anything like that. And just kind of finagle it into place here. It should kind of slide in easily. If you notice, this brace sits right in there, right in there. This might be a little hard to see with what light I have available, but you see it kind of sits right up there. And then there's a little bit of a ledge. Yeah, the lighting's not great, but you get the point. So it kind of just sits where it needs to. It doesn't really move around. You can't move it forward, can't move it to side to side. So getting it aligned to where you want it should be relatively easy, okay? So now what you want to do is just kind of gently lift this up and just slide this right inside there. And so if you notice, there's these notches here and this kind of channel going up and down. And so on the bottom side of the switch, you'll see these raised pieces here and here, the pins. These are all the kind of solder connections for the switch and for this. And those will sit right inside of these channels. And so once it's in there in the right place, you can see that left, this way it doesn't move, this way it does, but only a little bit. Okay, so you'll have to kind of use whatever light's available to you, but what you want to do is move this switch and look down these holes and just kind of line up the holes from this trigger switch, this, and this. And you can kind of see, you can't really see from here, but in the right light, it's pretty obvious when they line up because you'll just see kind of a black hole there. So go ahead and line this up and take your 4mm screws, the small ones, the ones that we're going to reuse. Okay. We're going to drop them right in. We're going to screw them in. And again, as you're screwing this, you can kind of move this around to help guide it into place. But once it kind of grabs onto the hole, it's gonna pull itself into the right spot. So don't worry too much about it. And the same thing on the other side, even if it's, you know, not exactly straight, once you kind of get the screw started, as long as it catches that hole a little bit, it's going to pull itself into the right place and make sure that it all works okay. So tighten these until they're a little snug. Don't go crazy. Again, this is just kind of securing the switch in its place, but we really can't go anywhere anyway. So these 2 screws are just kind of there to keep the switch in place. So that's done, nice and easy. So you'll have 2 extra 4mm. Again, you know, save these. If you drop any one of these, they have a great talent of falling underneath furniture. So just keep them handy for if and when that happens. And then after those 2 are in, we're going to take these 6mm. You're going to use 4 of them. And we're going to do a cross installation here. So we're going to start at this top one here. Again, be very careful not to hit this switch here. And then once this one's in, we're going to move to the back here. And what this does is kind of ensure that going this way, everything is straight. So if we do like these 2, you have a chance of it kind of giving too much preference to the front, and there could still end up being a bend. So doing this top one here and then this bottom one here ensures it's straight, and then we'll cross up to here and do this one last here, okay? So we're going to drop this screw in the hole here. Okay. And we'll just screw it right in. And now, if you notice that on these braces, these front pieces are pretty thin. And that's just to make sure that they're in there. And once they're screwed down, this does provide enough rigidity to it. So it's just important not to go too crazy with the tightness. Once it's in there, gonna make sure it's nice and snug. Don't over tighten. That's good. And so now you notice that it's in here. You see that this back part is actually lifted up quite a bit. And so when we screw this back piece in, it's gonna pull the base into place and make sure everything is straight. Okay. So we're gonna take another 6mm, drop it in the back one here. Okay, we'll make sure it's straight, and we'll start screwing it in. This back one is good since the slot is here. You'll be able to see it going in and making sure that it's connecting with the bottom screw kind of hole right here. So it's important to make sure that it's making connection there. All right, so continue screwing that in. Again, snug, don't overdo it. And then that's it. So already with those 2 screws alone, there's no more bend left in this plate. It's gonna be pretty stiff. There'll still be a little bit of bend, but it's gonna fix that triggering issue. Okay, so 3rd screw up on the front, top one here again. Okay. Tighten down, don't overdo it. And then the last one, kind of push these wires out of the way so you can get easier access to it, drop it in, and then tighten it down. Okay, there you have it. Base is installed with the support. Doesn't bend like it did before. Okay. So this support piece here, it's pretty overkill for what's needed, but with this in place, you're pretty much ensured that you're not going to get any more flex when you shake the foam and push it down or anything like that. It does a good job stiffening up the base plate, but does still keep that, you know, kind of flexible nature in this material itself, so that when things hit it, it's not going to transmit enough to this to crack anything. So everything is still going to be, you know, nice and robust that way. So anyway, let's finish this up. So we want to replace this, kind of pull a little bit. There'll be a little more tension with this piece here, but it'll still reach without a problem. Fit it in here. Again, you have to go straight vertically, right from the top and down, so that this slots in between those. And then just this kind of helps a little bit. Move the wires into that little ridge right there. Because really what's most important is you want to make sure that this kind of middle channel here is clear, so that when the trigger comes down, it doesn't get caught up on any wires. But it really shouldn't be a problem since it's going this way anyway, but this kind of just helps keep it in place. Okay, there you have it. So you should have 1 extra screw here, unless you dropped them, and then 2 here, again, and then the silver ones. Save them if you want, or toss them, whatever you prefer. And then to replace it back faced, what helps for me is to line up this back piece first so that it kind of reaches in there, and then you try to just drop it and it falls right into place. Okay, and then just replace the 4 feet, the corners. 3 and 4. Okay, then tighten them down, and then you're all done. That's it. So while you're working through this, if you have any problems, any questions, feel free to email me. I'll help you out. If your phone is not having this problem, probably still a good idea to do this. You never know when problems come up, and again, it just adds more rigidity. It's never a bad thing, especially like I said, because this phone's so much longer than the others. It's a good idea to do it. It's free. Just reach out to me if you need it. I'll get you one again. It could be any different color. I have some brown ones and black ones, whatever material I have in this this material, whatever colors I have in this material. As well, I'll send you. Like I said, you don't see it, but it should be black or brown usually. But anyway, that's it. Again, if you have any questions, go ahead and email me. And I hope this video helps. All right, thanks again.